Somewhere, down there, sleep the dead of a lost town, in a forgotten place that few ever visit. A place for even those who know have forgotten where. A place even more forgotten than the town. It's no easy find. Since the hurricane a few years ago, rummaging through the forest is more like climbing over an obstacle course of deadfall. But each time I return, a little more is cleared by those who walk these woods. It took several attempts and lots of clearing, but at long last, upon a small hill, overgrown with forest that shadows it from the sun and from view, I finally stumbled upon Broughton Graveyard. In 1905, the town that never was first took shape in the mind of Colonel Horace Mayhew. Dreaming big, he foolishly planned for a city to be built here around a mine that was first established in 1901. The town he tried to build wouldn't make it a decade. By 1916, from April to October, the site was used to train 1,200 men of the 185th Cape Breton Highlander Battalion. If you're interested in the early town history, you can see my first trip to Broughton in the link above, which goes into more detail. Several mines were opened here in the years preceding the Highlanders. The largest of them closed operations sometime between 1969 and 1972. Since then, the town and its graveyard have been silent, ever losing its battle against nature's reclamation. It seems the only way this place isn't lost forever is by the kindness of strangers. If you happen to come across it, please take some time to keep it visible and unharmed. I know I'm not the only person who has cleaned it up. I certainly hope I'm not the last. The first time I failed to find this graveyard is at the end of my first Broughton exploration. My second time wasn't much better, except that I had these coordinates. I followed the same path as in my first video. I just had to go a little further, I thought. Arriving at the entrance, I noticed that the tree that had blocked my path before was gone. I know that someone likes to come here and shoot cans, so I wore some orange just to be safe. The temperature was quite low, about minus 12 degrees Celsius. That's about 10 degrees Fahrenheit. I had left after work, so it only gave me about an hour or so to poke around before nightfall. I just wanted to check out my hunch that it was just along the same path as before, just a little further. When I arrived at where the graveyard should be, it wasn't there. I even sent up the drone to scout around. I left, disappointed. The plot of land for the graveyard was donated by the family that owned the land, the Macdonald family. So this abandoned graveyard should bear their name, but it's known locally as the Broughton Graveyard, despite it not being that close to the town site near Loon Lake, but more in the vicinity of Cochrane Lake. I had noticed, when I reviewed the footage, another path around what appeared to be a clear-cutting. And in fact, if you look back in time, you can see nothing but forest here. It seems to have been clear-cut sometime in 2014. I had missed this route the previous times. I spoke again with my contact and asked about that path around the clearing. He seemed to recall that that was the way into the graveyard. My third trip out on a warmer day, with more time to spare, so around -2 degrees Celsius this time, I grabbed my gear and headed out. I marked the turn around with flag tape and headed down the path, but noticed footprints. Someone was out here recently. This wasn't the easiest path for a stroll. There were trees down along the path, forcing me to go around several spots, climbing over wind-felled trees, landing in deep puddles. I had thought the forest floor was frozen, but the rain the night before had melted much of the ice. I wasn't giving up this time. Until I lost the footprints I was following. I stared at the trees, and there's a hill in front of me. There's no sign of the entrance gate I was told about, no arrows on the trees. Just when I was about to be disappointed again, as no one had told me this graveyard was on a hill, I saw an old piece of flagging tape on the ground. A new energy took me up that hill. Then I saw the markings on the tree that I was told about. The first stone peeked out from behind the tree, and at first, I didn't breathe. Well, there it is. That's the graveyard. I'd found it. The air was thick with the scent of pine as I made my way through the underbrush. The forest had long ago reclaimed what had once been a grassy green resting place for the very few dead of Broughton. Weathered tombstones, some toppled and propped back up, others barely legible, told stories of lives long past. Amongst the tangled roots and overgrown foliage, I could almost hear the whispers of the departed, their memories woven into the fabric of this abandoned land. The silence was deep, broken only by the occasional cold breeze and the distant call of a crow, as if the graveyard itself guarded its secrets with a solemn reverence. I thought, no one will ever be buried here again. Forget that there isn't a church anywhere looking after this place. If for no other reason, then you can't possibly get a coffin up here. Suddenly, my mood changed from excitement to something else. This wasn't scary. This wasn't creepy. It was very sad. When these people were laid to rest here, did their families imagine they would lose them? Be only visited by the odd wanderer looking for a thrill? Or that a tree would fall across the resting place of their loved one? I doubt many relatives could even make the trek in. Though I wasn't the only visitor here recently, it seemed like I might be the last for a while. Maybe I would clean up the graves just a little. I only had a machete with me, but I did what I could. I would need a saw and landscaping tools to do any real clearing here. This one grave I almost missed. I would hate for a family member to make this trip in and not find anything. This graveyard was catalogued in detail by the Cape Breton Historical and Genealogical Association. It's not a very big graveyard, so here is a roll call of sorts. Maybe one of them is related to you. Thank you for watching this episode of Abandoned Cape Breton. Where will I go next on this beautiful island known for its stunning landscapes and rich history? Do you know of any abandoned sites you'd like me to explore? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy the work I do, hit the like button and subscribe for updates on the next episode. Join me next time as we embark on a journey to uncover the mysteries hidden within Abandoned Cape Breton.